for joining me again for another very special guest. So today I am thrilled to have the gorgeous Becky Lawrence. Becky is the proud mum of a very inquisitive, independent and animal-obsessed chiro kid. She's married to a wonderful chiropractor, Tom, and together they own and run 2 chiropractic clinics in South Yorkshire with their dream team. Now, Becky has been working alongside 2 exceptional women to create a mother's voice, which is an online community to help empower women through motherhood and hopefully providing face-to-face support in the not too distant future. Now, she's also begun a postgraduate level course in breastfeeding and human lactation run by Breastfeeding London, so she can solidify and expand her knowledge in order to provide the best possible help and support to other mothers in their community. So Becky, we're basically talking about boobs today.
We are, it's all about the boobs.
You said that, and I threatened you that I'd do this. Just flashes your boob with the badge on, so I love that badge.
Can you see it?
Empowered women empower women. Love it. All over that. So Becky, thank you so much for agreeing to have a chat with me today. Just tell us a little bit more about yourself and how you got to be where you are now.
So I originally started my professional career, as it were, as a teacher, and then I chose to leave teaching. Don't know, quite a long time ago, and then I moved into the chiropractic clinic. So I helped support Tom and our dream team, providing chiropractic care for our wonderful community. And then I went on a retreat in September to Austria. I don't know if you remember it, Claire.
Was it the revival retreat?
Oh,
run by Hayley and Kelly.
It was absolutely run by Hayley and Kelly. And I kind of started doing some work on myself a little bit there, and started, I guess, kind of figuring out what it was that I was really passionate about. And then we had a chiropractic spring conference in which I stood up in front of 400 and odd people, in front of somebody who I admire very greatly in chiropractic, and then realised, oh my goodness, the reason that I'm kind of struggling a little bit in clinic is because I am pretending that, you know, these clinics are my dream, and I absolutely love them, and I'm like really believe in them, and I'm really passionate about them, but I know that that wasn't my dream. Thankfully, I then went to Circle of Fire the weekend after, and during one of the challenging, I guess you would say, sessions, I realised that actually my purpose is to help support women, and help to kind of educate and empower women. So since then I've been trying to figure out what that looks like, and what feels right for me. It's kind of scary to step away from what you know. I was very frightened to step away from chiropractic because it's my little tribe, and then to step into a unknown professional world in the sense of sort of maternity and postnatal breastfeeding.
Yeah.
But I've got 2 wonderful women that I'm working with, Radha and Michelle, who are in maternity, and so Radha is a midwife. She also does birthing rewinds, and she's a women's emotional health coach as well. And then Michelle is a postnatal doula. So they've both got lots of knowledge and experience. They're kind of helping to guide me into this unknown world.
Fantastic.
Yes.
I think, Becky, you touched on something really important there, which I see quite a lot, and I've experienced myself, so I totally get it. When you are with a partner who has a profession, and who has a business, in this case chiropractic, and in my world chiropractic as well, my other half, as you know, is a chiropractor, and we have a clinic. It is so easy to get lost behind someone else's passion and dream, and because you love them, you kind of think that that's also what you are passionate and you dream about, or you feel you should be passionate and you dream about, and then actually coming to the realization that you have your own purpose and being able to discover that is absolutely amazing, really empowering in itself. And as you say, quite scary as well.
It is, and I think because the chiropractic community is just so amazing, and you know, there's so much of that that resonates with me, and it is something I am very passionate about chiropractic. Like, don't get me wrong, people say stuff like chiropractic, you know, but you know, I'm one of the biggest cheerleaders. But it was a very difficult realization that, you know, actually I'm supposed to do something else, and then trying to figure out what else looks like.
I love that. I think that's really, really inspiring. So just, Becky, tell us a little bit more about a mother's voice and how it can support other women.
So it is, at the moment, it's an online community. We've set up a Facebook group, and the main kind of aim of the group is to bring mothers together and to support each other. So our like three main words, I guess you call them, are speak, ask, empower. So we want to provide a safe space for women to speak, to say what's on their mind, the good, the bad, the ugly, with absolutely no judgment, because the chances are, if you've thought it, there's probably at least 5 other women on that group who've thought the same as you. We want to provide a safe space to ask questions, so the really uncomfortable ones that you might, you know, you don't want to ask your friends, or, you know, your mothers, or, like, you know, whoever it is. So, you know, should my boobs look like this? Will my vulva ever go back to normal? Will I want to have sex again? You know, like, they're all the questions that people are too afraid to ask, and that get brushed over when it comes to the like NHS postnatal support, and then also obviously empower, because we want to empower women to be able to follow their own motherhood and parenting path, because we know there's so many different ways that you can choose to parent, or that you fall into parenting, or that you muddle through parenting, and we want to make sure that women are choosing the things that feel right for their family, because what is right for me is not going to be what's right for, you know, Jenny living down the street. It's we want to provide that space where we can allow women to figure out and find out what they truly want to, the way that they truly want to parent. So.
Yeah. And is it simply for new mums, or can any mums of any stage?
Mums of any stage. So initially, when we talked about it, we were planning on doing just a face-to-face support group, and it started out as a breastfeeding group, and then it has evolved into this thing where we've realised, myself, Roger and Michelle have realised that actually it's not just about breastfeeding. You know, breastfeeding for me was the catalyst to realise, actually, we want to empower women through. So then we developed the online community, and as we've opened up, we've realised there's women of all different kind of stages of their parenthood. We've got some brand new mums, we've got like third-time mums, we've got pregnant mums, and we've got mums of older children, which is really nice to be able to offer advice and support in terms of kind of getting through, especially those early days, which can be really, really tough, and especially in the current situation with the lockdown. We've got quite a few lockdown mothers on there, and so we want to be able to provide as much support for mothers regardless of what stage they're going through. So.
Okay, thank you. And what was the trigger that prompted this for you? I mean, I know you went to the retreats where you kind of got the idea that you perhaps weren't fulfilling your purpose, and you found out what that purpose was, but what was the trigger? Why empowering other mums?
I think it's quite a tricky question, that one. There's a lot of
very good, very cool.
There's a lot of things that have kind of I guess I can't even think what the word is, my brain's gone blank. There's a lot of reasons why it's kind of come together. One of the reasons was because I have felt relatively empowered as a mother, and I think that is largely due to Tom, who is incredibly supportive. We've both chosen, we both feel that our way of parenting is right for us. We've had lots of conversations about the way that we're choosing to parent Rosie, things to do like discipline, eating, sleeping, all those kind of things. So I have felt really lucky in that sense. I know just from other Facebook groups that I'm on that so many women don't feel that. and they don't feel like they've got that support network, and they don't feel like they know where to turn to in terms of how can I figure out what's right for me. So that was one of the reasons. Another reason is that I've got quite a few friends who are mums, and I'm in various kind of WhatsApp groups of mums, you know, mums I met when I was pregnant, mums I went to primary school with, and yeah, so I'm in lots of WhatsApp groups, and what I found was that I really enjoyed being able to help the other mothers work through things, whether that's just a bit of this too shall pass, like don't worry, you'll get over the sleep deprivation, the sleep regression, the teething, the sore nipples, or whatever it is, and I really enjoyed that. And so I was like, actually, I think this is something that I feel like I want to do, and because I've spent a lot of time reading and kind of trying to improve my knowledge and stuff about various areas of parenting. But yeah, it kind of felt right.
Yeah, awesome. And what prompted the learning more about breastfeeding and lactation?
I'm boob obsessed.
Yeah.
Yeah, full stop. I've always been, breastfeeding was the thing that I was looking forward to the most about having a baby. And for me, breastfeeding was a kind of non-negotiable. There wasn't, you know, I wasn't going to not breastfeed. And I appreciate that there are women who physically cannot produce enough milk to feed their children. And obviously, if that was me, then we would cross those bridges when we came to it. But thankfully, it wasn't. And we've had breastfeeding journey has been rocky-ish to start with, and I was hospitalised with mastitis and things like that. But it's just something that I feel ridiculously passionate about, because, you know, I know that nutritionally breast milk is the best thing that you can give your baby. I appreciate and I know that breastfeeding isn't always the best thing for a family, but breast milk is the best thing for your baby. So I wanted to be able to help other women who want to breastfeed, because there is a serious lack of support for breastfeeding mothers, which is a shame. And although there are lots of kind of online communities and things like that, I know that it's one of those things where you can always do with more help. So
yeah. Oh, fantastic. What are there any kind of popular myths around breastfeeding about whether you should or whether you shouldn't, and sort of questions you get asked on a regular basis?
I think breastfeeding has become a very controversial topic, which is a shame. And mothers have kind of been put into two camps of breastfeeding, or lactivists, as some of the I know. And then there's a formula feeding mums as well, and there is a lot of, or then it can appear to be a lot of animosity between the two groups, that you're mum shaming, I couldn't do this, you're making me feel bad, you don't need to get your boobs out in public to prove that you can breastfeed, and all this stuff. And so I think that there's a lot of social pressure that feeds into breastfeeding, or choosing not to breastfeed. I think one of the problems that most mums have who choose to breastfeed is breastfeeding in public. It's something they feel very uncomfortable about. Some women are absolutely fine and they don't mind doing it, and other women are very, very scared, and they, you know, I'm going to express and give because I don't feel comfortable giving a bottle in public. And I think part of that is the sexualization of breasts, that you know, the breasts are for sex, they're for your partner to enjoy, they're not, and what they're forgetting is that breasts they are designed to make milk to feed baby humans. That's what they're there for, and that, you know, people have forgotten that. And oh my gosh, she flashed a nipple in public and it's so offensive. And then you see and then you see all these, you know, billboard campaigns of models in swimwear with, you know, hardly wearing any clothes, and you think, how is that appropriate? But then a breastfeeding mother is not. And so I think there's a lot of social pressure that goes in with that. And then again, the support side of it as well. My trust that I had Rosie under, they told me about the one group at the hospital that I could attend if I wanted breastfeeding support, which was once a week. I then had a look because I knew that there were other groups out there, but I find it very, very difficult to find the PDF, which has got, I mean, it's got 3 pages worth of groups on there, but it wasn't something that was given out to me at the hospital. I was in there for 2 days with Rosie. There was 11 other women. It was very busy when I had Rosie. 11 other women were around me in those 2 days, and it was me and one other woman who were choosing to breastfeed. Everybody else had chosen to formula feed, which is the right thing for their family. But I felt that kind of, after you leave hospital, where is that support going to be, and where's it going to come from? I was lucky because all of my friends are breastfed, so I had them to sort of chat to and things like that. But there's also a kind of lack of education, I think, and not necessarily for breastfeeding mothers. I see a lot of posts online about I went to the doctors for a checkup or whatever, and at a year they then say, oh, there's no nutritional value, why are you still breastfeeding your baby? Which is absolute, excuse my French, bollocks. Like that is totally untrue. But so women are getting this from a medical point of view, that, oh, there's no value to it, there's no point, you're making a clingy baby, or all this kind of stuff, and it's just not true. So I want to kind of, there is a lot of downfalls and struggles that women have when they're choosing to breastfeed, in terms of all of those things, and then you get to the nitty-gritty of actually latching a child onto your breast. My breastfeeding course on Saturday, she said, women say breastfeeding is natural, and it's not. Lactation is natural. Breastfeeding is a social skill that you need to learn. And I love that. I was like, oh,
yeah.
That's the
I've got this kind of image, because I'm not a mum, I don't have a breastfed, I've got this image of like a Star Trek type, spaceship with a docking thing coming in.
It kind of is like that, especially at the beginning. There's a lot of manhandling, there's a lot of looking down and kind of bring the baby to your boob, and you've got to get it the right time when the mouth's open, because newborn babies, they kind of open and close their mouth a lot, so you've got to get it when the latch is the widest, and it is difficult, it is hard, and women need that support if they're going to do it right, because if you get it wrong, then you get blisters on your nipples, you get cracked nipples, and newborn babies have the most ridiculously strong suck. When Rosie first latched, I was like, oh my gosh, it's like someone had put a hoover onto my nipples. So, it's a lot to get used to, because this is an area that hasn't ever been used before, and you get it wrong once and it can really, really set you back for a good, 3, 4, 5 days, because, bleeding, blistered nipples are not that fun.
It doesn't sound fun.
I'm not selling it, am I?
My boobs are cringing just talking about it. I can feel them sort of withdrawing into themselves.
I'm not selling it, am I? I'm really not selling it. Oh, well.
You're selling the support, which sounds like it's in desperate need. You're just not getting it there. So with that said, I mean, obviously a mother's voice is not solely about breastfeeding. There's a whole raft of issues that people can get in touch with you about. So who is kind of like your ideal client, would you say, or is there no such thing for you?
There's probably not really any such thing. I think any mothers who are looking for support, like we are here, and one of the things that actually came from solidify for me was that I don't need to please everybody, and I'm not everybody's person. So, we would love for every new mother to join our group, but we know that we are not actually for everybody. So anybody who feels like, oh, they might be the kind of people that I might want to get support for, then that's us. We're not into mum shaming, judging, I can't believe you did that, that's not us. So if you are open-minded, and you are looking for a bit of support in your struggles in motherhood, not just, if you want advice over high chairs and car seats and prams and stuff like that, we can offer that, but actually we're so much more than that. It's that motherhood and, that building the community, because we've lost it, everybody used to live around the corner from their sisters and their aunties and their mums, and everybody, it takes a village to raise a child, and we've actually lost that village, and everybody's, moving away from family. I want to be independent. to be a good mother, I need to do it all by myself, and it's just not. That's not the way that motherhood works. It's you need a community.
Yeah,
you need a village.
Yeah, I think it's so important in every area of life as well, but particularly if you've got a brand new little human. You're like, what the? Oh. Yeah. So with that being said, my lovey, how do people find out more about you and about A Mother's Voice? Where can they go?
So we're just on Facebook at the moment. So if you just search in Facebook for A Mother's Voice, and if you want to join the group, you are more than welcome to. And we've got a couple of questions there to ask, and it's just so that we kind of know where to lead the discussions as well. So we've collected all the answers for what mothers are struggling with at the moment, and actually a lot of them are all the same. They're so similar. There's themes that run through. So yeah, just search for us on Facebook, and we are on there at the moment. Myself, Roger and Michelle know that this group is, we're going to let it grow organically. We don't know what it's going to look like in the future. We don't know how it's going to evolve to support women. We know that we're just kind of facilitators in this, in this journey. So who knows what we will be doing in 5 years' time. But we will be setting up a face-to-face support group in Rotherham as soon as lockdown lifts, basically. And we'll just kind of see where that journey takes us, really. So it's exciting. It was nerve-wracking at first. I was like, I don't know what it's going to look like, so how can I plan? And then I've just kind of let go, and it's going to be what it is, and it will develop based on the women that need the support. So
yeah, fantastic. So I will put the link to that in the comments as well. But you mentioned you tend to hear the same questions. Are you able to share some of those with us so that listening can go, oh yeah?
So one common theme that came up was loneliness. So we haven't dived into any of these yet. Obviously with the current situation that's going on, I know that has made a lot of mothers feel isolated and lonely. But I know that some of the women on there have been mothers for 3, 4, 5 years, whatever it is, and I know that that's a theme that's kind of running through. So that's definitely something that we are going to be talking about in the future. Mum guilt is a real thing. So work-life balance in terms of mum guilt, and also siblings and multiple children is a big thing that a lot of women have mentioned on there, and sleep. Which is the absolute, that seems to be, I think that feeds into the whole idea of a good mother, because that's what everybody asks. When we had Rose, was she a good baby? Well, she's like 3 weeks old. Define good. Does she sleep? She sleeps like a newborn baby should sleep, which is not very deeply, waking every couple of hours. And so I think that sleep is such a big thing that actually it makes mothers feel not good enough. There's a quote that I keep seeing popping up, and it's your ability as a mother is not defined by your child's ability to sleep. And I'm like, yes. And so sleep is one of those things that
the team right there.
Oh yeah, I think I do it actually. Don't ask me how my child sleeps. She sleeps like a child is supposed to. Biologically, normally, that is waking up often and frequently for comfort and milk. Yeah. So,
that's fascinating. Yeah. So, Becky, thank you so much for your time. Before we finish off, it's been an absolute blast chatting with you as always. But before we finish off, do you have any advice or tips that you can give mums who are either struggling with one of the issues you see regularly, or who are struggling with breastfeeding?
So my advice is definitely to reach out and get support from people around you who you trust, and also people who are going to give the answers that you want. So if you've got a friend who is really not very supportive, if you're choosing to breastfeed and you find it difficult, and you've got a friend who's just like, just give them formula, like I did it, it's fine for my child, which is brilliant because that's her journey. But if you are wanting support with breastfeeding and actually reaching out to that person who's going to tell you to stop doing it is not probably the right person to go for.
Yeah.
One of the most important things about breastfeeding is that you need to have oxytocin, the love hormone. So when you're first trying to get to grips with it, it's, you know, being comfortable, getting yourself comfortable, getting your baby comfortable, making sure that you're not going to be, you know, you've got people coming in all the time. Obviously lockdown, that's not really going to be happening. So yeah, it's just making sure that you feel comfortable and safe. Phone nearby, TV remote nearby, drinks and snacks nearby, all within reaching distance, because there is nothing worse than sitting down to feed your child, then falling asleep, and then you realising that the remote control is like far away from you, like you just can't reach it. But yeah, look for support from people who you know are supportive of your decision. And there are breastfeeding support groups available wherever you are in the country. So yeah.
Fantastic, thank you. So if any of mums watching, if any of that resonated with you, if you went, oh my God, yes, I have been struggling with that, then now you know where to go. As I said, I will pop the link to the Facebook page at the bottom. Do reach out to Becky and her team. It sounds like you're doing wonderful stuff, Becky. You should really, really proud of yourself. It sounds amazing. So thank you once again so much for your time. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day.
Thank you, and to you.
Cheers. Take care.